Good morning, everyone. This is Raja Al Khadim, the head of LinkedIn MENA for public sector. And today I have with me a very special guest, Her Excellency Hala Badri, who is the Director General of Dubai Culture. Hello, Hala, how are you? And welcome to our LinkedIn speaker series.
Thank you so much for hosting us. We are doing excellent. We're very busy and very productive. And I'm very happy to be on LinkedIn today.
Thank you. And so we are, especially that the topic of today is culture. And I believe that in these times, people need a breath of fresh air, something positive. Culture, arts, entertainment is what we are looking for. We've been locked down for a while at home, and then people are really hoping to get out and then live life again the way they used to, if not the best version of it. So probably maybe as a start, tell us what does culture mean for Dubai? I know that the authority has been there for around maybe 12 years so far, since 2008, and you have achieved so many things since then. What is Dubai culture today, and what are you looking to achieve now in this coming period?
Thank you so much for this question, Raja. And I think if we look at our responsibility as Dubai Culture, it is very important to mention that we are here to create the right ecosystem for the creative professionals. Yes, the last year, and specifically during lockdown, we went on and we looked at a lot of initiatives that bring talent to the forefront of this, let's say, period that people were in lockdown. Some of the things that, what does culture mean to people? Culture is the music that you listen to or you play. It's the movie that you watch or get engaged in. It's the theater, the drama that you went to watch. It's basically all forms of arts, be it design, be it visual arts, be it architectural arts that you want to go and visit. Culture is also your heritage, is your legacy, is your national pride that you actually want to know more about and you're curious about, and actually brings people together and creates that dialogue. And that's precisely what we want to do at Dubai, is create that dialogue.
Yes.
What is important is that the vision that we have created for Dubai and the culture in the Emirate. And that is a vision that was actually, and we were very lucky that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed put forward for us. And Dubai has to be as important in terms of culture, as important as economy. And this is where he said we want Dubai to be a center for culture, a hub for thriving talent, but also an incubator for the creatives. So that's where we have started from and translated that vision into what does it really mean for the creative economy, for our own employees, and also for anyone visiting Dubai wanting to know more about the culture. I think it's important because you mentioned lockdown and people going out during lockdown, and the things that we did during this period is that we understand that during this period, like you said, the consumption of creative world or the culture was far more higher, and it was our role to make it easy for people to reach these basically avenues. So one of the most important campaigns that we launched during the lockdown was hashtag Create Together.
Yes.
And we invited the entire community to basically share their talents with us, whether it's their voice, whether it's their arts, whether it's their basically knowledge in terms of heritage and something that is national heritage to us.
How did you see the engagement and response of people when you created that hashtag?
The response was amazing. I mean, we discovered so many amateur, professional talents, talents that we didn't imagine that is part of the creative economy. And we basically took this into a repository, and we're working with one of the leading mural, basically creating companies to take all of this artwork and showcase it, because people actually put time and effort to bring this forward. So we've done that. The other thing we did during lockdown is that we actually sat with the creative community, around 70 individuals and companies, and we launched what was called at that time a 2-day Dubai Ideathon. And we spoke with everyone, listened to them, listened to their ideas on how can we actually go through this period of fast recovery back to normal. And we got wonderful ideas from policies to procedures and processes to actually community-driven events and things that can actually revive this community. The other things we did is that we created basically the virtual tours, and it was
for the 11th museum, if I'm not mistaken, right?
For our museums,
yes,
for all our museums and our heritage sites. So we created these virtual tours where we invited the community, the public, the school specifically, to come and have a tour. And it was very surprising because we usually have very high level of visitors, for example, to our Ittihad Museum. But during the lockdown, we had over 11,000 students who participated in visiting Ittihad Museum.
Amazing.
Virtual tours, classes, so many people were excited. And those students who lived, for example, in Northern Emirates, they were
have the chance now to experience this, even though they're far.
Absolutely, but they said, you know what, we actually want to travel to the Emirate and visit it now that we've seen the components of this museum, for example.
Your Excellency, yes, just maybe to dwell in around, you were saying that during the process of people applying, you discovered so many hidden talent that was not out there. I read on your website that you have more than 200 nationalities of people that are working into the art. And as well that there's a new program or a program that has been here for a while around the culture visa or people that will come to the UAE and then contribute with culture. Tell us maybe more about the international outlook of putting Dubai on the cultural scene, international cultural scene, and also on the local side of empowering local people and artists and people in the field.
So again, this is a wonderful question. As you may have known, we launched our basically a 6-year strategy plan for this sector for the Emirate of Dubai. And basically, again, it stems from the vision of making Dubai a global cultural center and an incubator for talent and also a thriving hub for the creative community. And the way it works is that we've got 5 main pillars. The first pillar, sectoral basically priorities. The first pillar is about supporting talent. The second pillar is about accessing basically culture, the ease of accessing culture. The third pillar is the creative economy and how we contribute to it. The fourth pillar is, I keep forgetting the fourth pillar, but it's creating that global footprint. And making Dubai, putting Dubai on the world map when it comes to culture. And the fifth pillar is basically our responsibility towards culture and the preservation of the Arabic language, the preservation of our national identity, the preservation of tangible and intangible heritage, oral history, etc. So when you speak about how do we make Dubai accessible internationally, there are so many things. So you spoke about the cultural visa. Dubai is home to more than 200 nationalities. The cultural visa is given to people who have been in Dubai for a long time, who have contributed to the cultural and artistic scene, who we would like to keep in Dubai because of their contributions and because we believe in Dubai that we can become the home of multinational creatives. When you speak about accessibility, today, if you look at the cultural elements that are there, whether they're museums or they're art avenues or they're basically the heritage sites, a lot of people feel intimidated. They feel that, oh, this is for the niche of the community. This is not for everyone. What we're working on is this accessibility plan, that reality is that this is accessible for everyone, including for people with disabilities. Whatever we come up with, we need to take into consideration the diversity of Dubai, but also the diversity of the international community when they want to reach us. This also means that we have to work with the Department of Tourism to make sure that transportation to these
I was thinking about it because it goes hand in hand. People are coming to Dubai, whether for business tourism, But there is this element of culture because they need to do activities and then they need to understand what is it that they can do and not be afraid that to go to the niche places, to go as Circal, or even I heard that in Al Quoz you even have that new area. Maybe somebody would not know that they can go to Al Quoz.
Absolutely. And on that note, this is one of the reasons, for example, we partnered up with Uber. Uber has a project that's called Hidden Gems. And
Nice.
It basically uses Dubai residents and Dubai visitors and Dubai nationals who actually discover these cultural hidden gems. And we've partnered up with them to come up to tell people about these hidden gems, because where do people get this information from? It's also from people who are in the RTA, for example, your taxis, who tell you, visit this, it's beautiful.
Take me to that
here
place and they take recommendations. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So that journey from looking or hearing about Dubai from wherever you are, through the website or through a brochure or through a hotel or your basically travel agent, to arriving in Dubai, to actually visiting the places, has been thought about. And it's important that people discover that we're not only about some of the museums, but there are real hidden gems, there are real artistic centers that we would love people to go visit.
Speaking of that, and if you were to share some secret tips with our audience today at LinkedIn, whether they're in Dubai or they're outside Dubai, what would you recommend us to see or to discover some of the hidden gems that are close to your heart that you think are special, or maybe upcoming events that might be happening soon?
So if you think about some of the hidden gems, I'd definitely tell people, if they're into arts and into basically culture, that they should go to the Al Circal Avenue.
Yes.
Al Circal, definitely. It's got a variety of artistic, cultural avenues that people can try, even from food and beverage perspective, that people don't know about. Definitely places like Cinema Akil, who also has a sister company that's called the Chaiwala, and you can try the best karak there.
Nice.
I would definitely encourage people to go to Al Fahidi area. All the old houses. Again, there are very small boutique hotel in there. There is artistic places, souvenir places, but it just allows you to relive and reimagine what people lived like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Those are my two favorite places. If you look at museum, there is a hidden museum. It's called the Museum of the Poet of Al-Aqili, and it's in Al Ras area. I would encourage people to go see. That was the life of a poet. I think his house is the only house that carries in its windows the Mishrabiyas. We don't call them Mishrabiyas here, but most of the windows were inspired by geometric design or by plant design. That's the only house where you will see that it was inspired by animal design as well.
Nice.
So those are little hidden gems that I would.
Thank you for the tips. My dad is actually visiting me next week, and I'll be sure to take him to those places.
Excellent. Excellent.
This will bring me back to the question is that I heard and I know that Dubai Culture has done so much to support the culture community and all those very talented people. And if today a person is in that field, how can he reach out, or how can he benefit from the presence of Dubai Culture Authority, Her Excellency Her Highness Sheikh Latifa, and so forth, and to be able to benefit? I know that you have programs around learning and so many different things.
So first of all, one of the most important things that we have done is that we have looked at our role. Yes, we've got assets that we operate. We've got 8 public libraries, we've got 6 museums, and we've got 3 historical sites that we're operating currently. And just last week, by royal decree, Al Jalila Cultural Center for Children was also added to our responsibility, and also the cultural village in Hatta was added to our responsibility. So this is from an operations perspective. But our main role today is to help put policies in place that makes the life of the talented and the creatives much more better. So it's regulator, playing the regulator role, playing the policy maker role, and playing the enabler role, also playing the operator role, but at a far less extent. So our role is not to just create events. Our role is not just to support and fund events. Our role is actually to be able to be the right regulator, enabler, and policymaker. And when you say, how can we help that community, is through many different avenues which we've started to work on, especially during the COVID-19 period, is we relooked at policies. And when we say we relooked at policies, we looked at VAT structure, we looked at licensing for the individuals, for the freelancers, for example, small companies, large companies. It's looking at that ecosystem and how can we make it easier. So that is the role of the government. We are not here to compete with the private sector. We are here to enable the private sector to help serve the creative sector.
Yes.
And that's an important differentiator for Dubai Culture.
Good point. Good point. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for this brief. Any maybe as a final questions, probably I might ask you, with this difficult period that came out, in the last few months where we were locked down with the pandemic, any advice from a leader who had to go through this change, maybe to the members that are also going through these similar changes, and in case it happens again, any final words of advice from your own experience?
And I think what is very important is to remain hopeful. This is what our leaders have taught us. Always have that hope and work towards that hope. Yes, it's been a difficult period, but you know what? When you sit with the right stakeholders and listen to the people, we say here at Dubai Culture, it's not about the open door policy, but it's about the open heart policy. We listen to people, we try to take it in baby steps. Yes, we can't do the full recovery tomorrow, but we do have a vision that we want to reach, and that's very, very important, is to have that vision, be hopeful, and take baby steps towards getting or reaching to that vision and goal, inshallah. So
very inspiring. I totally agree with you. Your Excellency Hala Badri, Director General of Dubai Culture, thank you so much for those very inspiring details, and I wish you the best in your journey, and hopefully to be able to experience the best that Dubai has to offer. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for hosting us. It's been a pleasure and wonderful talking to you, always.